Hi, I'm Doug McKinlay and you're watching Adorama TV. Now, for today's episode, we're going to discuss trends. Now, the first thing to say about trends is they are ephemeral. They can change weekly, monthly, and yearly. But no matter what, there is a lot of research that goes into trying to identify trends. And if you can do this, you're ahead of the game, especially commercially. Now, trends are in every industry, and photography is no different. For instance, Pantone, the color matching system for this year, 2018, has designated ultraviolet as the color of the year. Now we're going to start to see that crop up in all sorts of places, from fashion stuff, nail varnish, to car colors, to house paint. It's just one of those things that we're going to see throughout the year. Now, how that's going to affect us as photographers, you know, it's going to be more in the stock area, perhaps. Now, as a documentary and travel photographer, eventually that might even trickle down into our little part of the world. And that's just one example of how trends work. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves as photographers, especially documentary and travel photographers, is do we adhere to trends or do we ignore them? Now, before trying to answer that question, I'd like to throw a few things out for consideration. Now, there's already been some trends showing themselves in the visual world for 2018. Now, but how does a trend become a trend? Well, for pictures, for instance, Adobe and Getty Images, they tend to track all their picture sales. Then they look for commonalities. And those commonalities can become trends. It's just one way of looking at it. Now, the first trend I want to talk about is authenticity. Now, authenticity is a really hot buzzword at the moment. Now, this is a reaction to the world we're living in right now. So it's a call out against things like fake news and unreliable social media platforms or openly manipulated images in magazines. What we're looking for is reality now. The trend is to show the world as it is, not in some glorified kind of darkroom, digital darkroom kind of way. Now, as a travel and documentary photographer, this is a trend I can jump aboard any time of the week. It's good to see the old commercial and fashion guys taking down earth a little bit. Now, another trend I want to touch on is travel imagery. Now, in 2017, travel pictures had a good year. Now, it looks like 2018 is going to be just as good. But it's not just pictures of the family on holiday. It's a little more sophisticated than that. Silence and solitude seem to be the genre, the way these images are going. They're gaining a lot of traction. So images that are quite open, you know, one or two people, maybe a cabin or a tent in the forest or something, or big wide open spaces, lots of negative space. So contemplation is the key here. This is the way this trend seems to be going. So if I was out looking for these kind of pictures, that's exactly what I'd focus on. Lots of open spaces, lots of individuals trying to, you know, almost in a Zen-like way, looking at the world about them. A couple of other trends I'd like to mention are touch and tactility and creative reality. Now, these two trends are almost completely different, but I think they're also linked in the sense that they're both reactions to the world we live in today, the uncertainty of it. Now, touch and tactility are images that are showing people in a closer proximity where the images are almost tactile and sensual. It's perhaps a reaction to our 24/7 online world we live in at the moment where you can easily lose yourself in technology. Now, I already see this happening to my 10-year-old boy. Now, creative reality is kind of the opposite in the sense that it's taking something that's depicted in real life and then manipulating it in a different way, almost in a surreal kind of way, using techniques like infrared or double exposure, and then, of course, manipulating them in the computer. These are two trends that are starting to show themselves a little more strongly in 2018, so something to be aware of and on the lookout for. Now, trends are a broad church. By their very definition, they're going to change. But what are those questions I asked at the beginning? Should I or should I not follow trends? Well, in my opinion, both. Now, you take what you can from a trend and you ditch the rest. As artists, I think the trends are going to help you look at your photography in a different way. But if you get too caught up in a trend, I think it'll land you in a rut. So that's our take on trends. Thanks for watching. I'm Doug McKinlay for Adorama TV. Now, don't forget, you can also subscribe to Adorama TV for more great videos. And tell us what you think. You can like, comment, or share this video. And please stop by the Adorama Learning Center for more great tips and tricks.